this is how this all came about. I had a '65 Mustang, and I was a bit of a drag racer. Well, I broke 11 transmissions the first year I owned it, and I got pretty tired of it, and plus going to school, I thought, I need something a little economical, so I bought a Bug. Greg Bunch, who was a member of DKP at that time, which was kind of a social car club. They didn't quite evolve yet, but they had nice cars, and they were, the requirements were simple colors, no wild paint schemes, just basic looking cars, chrome wheels, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Well, he got me to come to the meetings after 3 or 4 times because I kind of said, I don't need to be involved in a car club. I was in a car club in the Mustang, and it was all a bit of an effort, you know, and didn't want to have to be tied down to what a club did. Well, he ended up going, and I, along with a few other people in the club, kind of changed the direction. We kind of went more for a drag race club than a social club, and plus we kind of pushed what was later to become the Cal Look. Myself, Greg Aronson, Don Crane, Jim Holmes, Greg Bunch, any number of guys. There was probably 20 club members at the time, and about 7 or 8 of us had a distinct feeling with the way things should look. So by doing our own cars, we persuaded other people to do the same thing, and it just kind of snowballed. And then it was later called the Cal Look. Lane Evans, who was the art director for Hot VW's magazine, coined the Cal Look. We never used that till he coined it for the magazine, because it did start in California and it was a look. So it was a simplistic term that worked real well. The thing about it is that we really weren't trying to create something. We were doing what in your head you thought, this looks good, this is cool, this is what we want to do. So it evolved. It became what you know as the Cal Look, which is either with trim or without trim, mostly without trim, basic colors, the primary colors, red, black, blue, white, you know, etc., with a nose down attitude. Blacked out tires, black wall tires, smaller ones in front, kind of a drag racing influence, bigger ones in the back. And of course, we fell in love with BRM wheels. When we first found the BRM wheel, it was being sold by Impey, and nobody really realized what it was. It was a magnificent magnesium wheel made by the famous Speedwell company of the UK, and it was virtually weightless. And this would hit our drag racing heart. Plus they looked neat. They kind of had that iron cross blacked out look to them. Of course, they went on to become the iconic Cal Look wheel. We kind of went into, it was Brad's upholstery did the interiors because he did things. There's the famous biscuit and biscuit pattern. Leonard Becker, these were all Anaheim based, Orange County people, and we kind of developed this. And we were jeans wearing, white t-shirt, low top black Purcell's, Converse, kind of almost surfer look clothes. We weren't greasers or we weren't radical. We were just fun-loving guys. So yeah, I didn't want to say we weren't trying to be snobbery or exclusive, but if you wanted to get in the club, you pretty much had to be in that stream. The very first bug-in occurred, and I think it was in 1968, and we were asleep at the front gate you know, in the morning and got up, and we're the first ones in the buggy in. And then we developed our club display, and all the other clubs, they all had their own personality. A lot of them emulated us, and it was the best form of flattery. And again, we weren't snobs. We enjoyed companionship with all the other clubs. We used to go hang out with them, DRF, Newport Beach Volkswagen, Santa Ana Volkswagen, all those different guys, and we all had a great time. There was no cognizant thought that we are the Cal Look guys, we're DKP. That stood for something. That stood for when we put on a display at the Bug-In, it had to be the very best, so we went way over the top. At one point in time with DKP1, there was probably, I'm going to say, 27, 28 members. In the top 10 board, there were probably, out of the 27 cars, 24 of them had dual Webers. So we were very pro performance, you know. It was like, if you were number 11, you wanted to get in the board, you know, you wanted to be in the top 10 board. We never expanded it to be 15 or whatever, it was top 10. That was it. You could always challenge the guy above you. If you were number 4, you could challenge number 3. You couldn't challenge number 1 because you had to get through 3 and 2 to get to him. And you were constantly, we'd have little street races going on because number 4 could beat number 3 on a day, maybe because the guy missed a gear or something. It wasn't, we didn't record times or anything. Just recorded who beat who, you know, so you moved up. Now, in later years, we were going a lot of drag racing. We had ETs up there because you had one, but that didn't matter. Didn't matter what you ran. If you challenged the guy above you and you beat him over there behind white front stores where we had a street where we'd race, you got his spot, you know. And then, of course, we ended up evolving into having a couple race cars. Doug Gordon, who was a great member of the club, convinced me, it wasn't any problem at all, convinced me that we should turn his street car into a drag car and I would get to drive. So it was like that, it was easily done. We called it the Underdog because we were mostly racing V8s and stuff, and we were the little guy, and the Underdog cartoon character seemed appropriate, so we were the Underdog. Greg had the Tar Baby, which is a gorgeous Cal Look car. He raced it a couple times, he won the Winter Nationals, but he tagged the guardrail at Orange County, got loose on him, and it kind of, I don't know what the right term is, it kind of made him, well, I don't want to do this anymore. I said, really? And he said, yeah, I want to get rid of this. And I said, oh, really? What do you want for it? When he told me the number, my eyes got big, and Mike Hunsaker and I bought it. You can ask anybody in VW racing, or anybody, and if you're talking about VW drag racing, and then you start talking about car clubs, they'll know DKP, they'll know the Panzers. And it was a very special group of people, and it seemed to attract just, you know, that kind of easygoing, you know, loving your car, no frills, relaxed California guy. California attitude, you know, and again, everybody I've met when I go to Europe, Belgium, and Germany, and England, that's into the Cal Look side. And again, I appreciate the vintage side and all those guys too. But when you run into a Cal Look guy, he fits the mold. I mean, you know, I don't want to characterize them as they're a diversity of personalities, but for some reason, they're all pretty laid back. They're not in a hurry about things. They love life. They're Cal Look guys, you know? I don't know how else to say it. They just seem to be. You know, even today, people, you know, they use that legend word. I don't want to be put on a pedestal. I just want to be one of the guys with you, you know. As long as I'm on the planet, I still love Volkswagens. I don't know that we started it. It's a German creation, but I think in a certain genre, call it the cow look, whatever you want, we created something that's now a worldwide thing.